How can countries tackle climate change and mitigate the negative consequences of global warming? The world's political leaders frequently meet at climate summits for intense talks to discuss this question. Typically, however, climate talks end with limited agreements that are merely declarations of intent. In fact, most climate summits end without any agreement.
No, we can't.
What will it take for countries to reach agreement on an effective climate treaty? Clearly, political leaders will not sign onto agreements that are unpopular. And even if they did, only an agreement with broad public support across countries stands a chance at actually being implemented. In many countries, the public debate focuses on the question of how popular climate policy is among citizens in general. This debate misses the point that one's opinion on climate agreements is not different from one's opinion on buying a new car. Demand for climate treaties depends on the costs and features of an agreement, just like demand for a car depends on its price and options. To find out which features of an agreement are more or less important to the public, we carried out online survey experiments on representative samples of 8,500 citizens in the United States, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Support for a climate treaty depends strongly on the agreement's cost. An increase in the costs of a climate treaty from 0.5% to 1% of gross domestic product decreases public support by 10 percentage points. However, governments can make global climate pacts more attractive by adding features that the public values in an agreement, much like the effect of those attractive options in a desirable but pricey car. Our research suggests that the public values three features of a climate agreement: the distribution of costs, participation, and enforcement. For example, agreements find more support if they distribute the costs across countries such that they resonate with prominent fairness norms. An example is the polluter pays principle, which requires that countries with higher greenhouse gas emissions have to carry a larger share of the costs. Similarly, negotiators can design more attractive agreements by including many countries, by creating an independent monitoring body to keep track of whether countries are meeting their emission targets, and by employing small sanctions for countries that miss their obligations. Although the general level of support for global climate policy is higher in European countries than in the United States, our research shows that publics in all four countries have very similar opinions about which features of climate agreements are desirable. This means that, at least in relatively wealthy democracies, leaders face similar political demands. Therefore, policymakers, like automobile manufacturers attracting new consumers, need to innovate and compose a treaty at the right price with the right features that attracts majority support in countries around the world.
Ha 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 ha!